Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, Lane Frank. We're now on episode 244. So 244 episodes through, and I got an action-packed episode planned for you. We're going to run through what happened last week in the NFL in the wild card and what's upcoming in the divisional round. We're going to break down our college football playoff national championship game between Indiana and Miami. We're going to pick a winner in the Australian Open, and we're going to talk a little hot stove in the MLB. So stay tuned for an action-packed episode 244. Let's start off episode 244, how we always do, with our headlines. And in the NBA, we have two major trade requests in the NBA, or one is just a player on the market, and one is a trade demand. The demand is Jonathan Kuminga, the former number 7 overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft to the Golden State Warriors. And I'm surprised it's taken this long for Kuminga to officially be on the trading block. But yes, now that he is eligible to be traded, Kuminga is going to be traded, it looks like, from the Golden State Warriors. There have been major disputes over his contract and other things throughout his career. He has never taken the leap I thought he would, whether it came from when I thought he would do it in high school, when he played overseas for a year, when he got drafted to the NBA. He has never evolved into the player I thought he could be. And I think it's kind of interesting because we talk about this Warriors dynasty and everything that they had with Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Steph. It could have been a whole nother generation if they had just drafted just a little bit better. What if in that 2020 draft, they didn't take James Wiseman and they took LaMelo Ball? What if they got lucky and they got the number 1 pick and they had Anthony Edwards? What if in, let's say, 2021, they didn't take Kuminga and they took somebody who's a little bit later than Kuminga in that draft? We could have a whole another generation of the Splash Bros in Golden State. But that's the way things turn out, and Jonathan Kuminga is on the trade block. Another guy on the trade block is John Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. 2019 number 2 overall pick out of Murray State, has had a tumultuous NBA career from having a great rookie season, winning Rookie of the Year, to becoming one of the NBA's most improved players, to an MVP caliber player, to a complete, I don't even know what you want to call it, off the court. John Morant was. Rebuilt himself back up, got injured, and now he's on the trade block, and Memphis is looking to trade away their once and their current face of the franchise. In the NFL, the Los Angeles Rams kicked off our playoffs with a 34-31 electric victory over the Carolina Panthers. A road win. Matthew Stafford was vintage. Love to see that game. It really was a great game. It was just a football fan. A lot of these games were. It's like Bears game. The Bears game against Green Bay Packers, comeback win. Ben Johnson was out there just playing Madden, it looked like. And the Bears obviously get what seems like a franchise-changing win because you beat your rival, you beat them in the playoffs. That's big news right there. Chicago, Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. For the Bills, well, that was a great game to kick off our Sunday. Josh Allen with maybe the greatest tush push of all time, going 10 yards down the field from the 11-yard line to the 1 on 4th and 1 to seal the deal and get in for the Buffalo Bills and win that game against Jacksonville. And a lot of good things to look out for with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence had a great year. They're 13-4. Lots of upside ahead for Jacksonville. Next thing, San Francisco 49ers went all the way up to Philadelphia, collected a great win as I predicted. I'm perfect so far on all these games until the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans came around. Great win for the Patriots, 16-3, defensive game. And then for the Texans, a great fourth quarter. You're winning by 1 point going into the fourth, and you end up winning by 24. You end Mike Tomlin's coaching career because, yes, Mike Tomlin will look like it's retiring, not just for 1 year, but permanently from the NFL. That's about the news in the NFL. We did have John Harbaugh get hired to my New York Giants. Love to see that as a Giants fan. The first time since Tom Coughlin, a legit coach has entered that building where they aren't a first-time head coach like Joe Judge and Brian Daboll and Ben McAdoo, where they are a legit head coach and a Super Bowl coach and John Harbaugh. Now in the MLB, to close out our headlines, Kyle Tucker is still available and will be probably one of the best bats to touch free agency for the next 3 to 5 years. Looks like it's coming down to the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers. Who will sweep up Kyle Tucker? And last thing in the headlines, Nolan Arenado traded from the Cardinals to the Diamondbacks. Let's see if he can return to that all MVP level that we used to see out of him. That's about for the headlines. Still more to come. Episode 244. Now, Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. The divisional round is here. We're kicking off with Bills versus the Broncos in Denver. The Bills are used to this cold weather, though, and I do think Josh Allen gets a monumental playoff win right here. I like the Broncos. I think they have the best defense in the NFL. Well, this is Josh Allen's season. This is his year. Bo Nix, second-year player. It make for a great story, but Josh Allen gets the win. Bills over the Broncos. 49ers versus the Seahawks. If you know what I mean, and if you know you've watched this show for a very long time, I'm a 49ers truther, believer. I'm not a fan, but I like to see them have success. I am in no way a diehard fan like I am for the New York Giants. I just think the 49ers have something about them that always makes me want to pick them in these games. So I am. Seattle Seahawks are a great team. They had a great season. Sam Darnold is banged up. He's not even 100% to play. Who's their backup? Jalen Milroe? Come on. Let's go with the San Francisco 49ers against a banged-up Sam Darnold and a weak offense, in my opinion, right now in Seattle. 49ers get the win. They're riding high after their win in Philadelphia last week. They'll advance to the NFC Championship game where they'll take on the winner of Rams versus the Bears. In that Rams versus Bears game, our last game of the week, I'm excited for this one. Sunday Night Football. Yeah, Mike Tirico on the call, Chris Collinsworth. I'm going to go with the Bears. I think the Bears are just such a good team right now. I think that game last week showed a lot of things to me about how their defense was, about how that offense is playing. It's going to be up in Chicago. The Rams obviously play in LA. And yes, you can practice outdoors, but nothing is going to prep you playing outdoors in Chicago if you're practicing in LA. So let's go with the Bears over the Rams. To close out our Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day, Texans versus the Patriots, AFC Championship game. Who will take on the Bills in my AFC Championship game? Houston or New England? Both great defenses. Both had great defensive performances last week. Texans gave up 6. Patriots gave up 3. Here's the thing to point out right here. CJ Stroud has 3 playoff wins in his career. It's a crazy stat, but he does. That might be more than Dak Prescott. It's definitely more than Justin Herbert, who has none. It's mind-boggling to think that CJ Stroud would have 3 playoff wins, but every year of his career he's won a playoff game. He takes it to a different level this year, and he wins another. He gets his 4th. Texans upset the Patriots to advance the AFC Championship game. And that's about it for Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. Top 5. This week's Top 5 is the top 5 most loyal athletes in sports history. I'm talking about loyal, I'm talking about you're staying with that team, you're loving that team, you are the face of that franchise. Not just at the moment you're there, but for a lifelong after, till we get that statue built. Number 5 on this list actually didn't stay with that team his whole career, but it is Lionel Messi, who stayed with Barcelona for 13 years and would have stayed with them longer if they had fixed his contract. It was a financial disagreement, and they didn't want to bring him back. I think he would have done it on a huge discount, but now they were ready to move on Barcelona due to financial reasons, as they say. And you can even see when he went to Paris Saint-Germain in that press conference, he's upset. When he's there, he's upset. He wanted to finish out his career playing in Barcelona. Things just didn't work out that way. But 5, Lionel Messi. 4, Derek Jeter. I think Derek Jeter is one of the most loyal athletes ever. Yes, it's easy to stay in New York for a long time, but still, 20 years with the New York Yankees, even at the peaks of his career, wanted to stay with them, even if they weren't giving him the most money at times. 4, Derek Jeter, because he is the greatest Yankee in the past 50 years, you could say. Number 3, Larry Fitzgerald. Now, Larry Fitz could have left many times in Arizona when they had quarterbacks like Josh McCown, when Kurt Warner was at the end of his career, when he was playing like quarterbacks like Drew Stanton, Josh Rosen, he could have left. But Larry Fitzgerald stuck it out in Arizona his whole entire career. Big respect from me as a football fan, as a sports fan, to stay with the team your whole entire NFL career, football career. We don't see that much nowadays. 3, Larry Fitzgerald. 2, Dirk Nowitzki, everybody. Same thing with Dirk. He played on many bad teams, but he's a statue outside of Dallas for a reason. 2, Dirk Nowitzki, who played 20-plus years in Dallas. They've got an airport restaurant in Dallas called Nowitzki's because that's how loyal Dirk was. Number 1, most loyal athlete in sports history was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant stayed with the Lakers his whole entire career, through the ups, through the downs, through the Byron Scott years even, towards the end of his career. Came back after a torn Achilles, played for the Lakers for a few more years. There's stories about trades that could have been done that Kobe almost wanted to be done, but then didn't. Kobe maybe requested a trade once or twice from the Lakers, but he always stayed a Laker. And I think that's some respect right there. Kobe Bryant is the most loyal athlete in sports history, in my opinion. That's about for Top 5 this week. So I'm filming this on January 15th, Thursday, and Kyle Tucker wasn't signed 5 minutes ago, so we talked about it in the headlines. He just signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is ridiculous in my opinion. I have great respect for that Dodgers organization, Dave Roberts, a lot of people there. But I think they're just saying, next year, there's going to be a lockout. There's going to be a salary cap made from that lockout. So why not just go all out right now for this next season? Because we might not end up having to pay Kyle Tucker his full contract, because we might have to dump him because of this salary cap issue. So I respect it on the Dodgers' end. I get it from Kyle Tucker's end. But, I think New York sounds nicer than L.A., down to the Mets and the Dodgers at the last minute. Tough stuff right here. Los Angeles Dodgers get Kyle Tucker. They've broken the MLB. Now, did you know? This week's Did You Know is, did you know Brock Purdy is the only quarterback left in the NFL playoffs that wasn't picked in the first round? Not only was he not picked the first round, he was the last pick of the NFL draft in 2023. Didn't know that? Leave that in the comments. That's about for Did You Know this week. So here's a fun little segment for you. I'm going to do a Dante Moore Spotlight. And I followed Dante Moore since I was in 8th grade because I was obviously and still am, a very big Michigan football fan. But Dante Moore was the #1 quarterback in the state of Michigan and a top 3 quarterback in the country in the 2023 recruiting class. So obviously I wanted Michigan to get him, be the backup to J.J. McCarthy, and eventually take the reins for Michigan football. Things didn't work out that way, and he ended up committing to Oregon. Now, he didn't stay committed to Oregon, though. He went to UCLA and flipped on signing day because he was guaranteed to start his freshman year at UCLA, which he did, but I think he had a prior agreement with Oregon. Oregon said, hey, Dante, you're not going to start this year. We've got some good quarterbacks. Got Bo Nix. Bo Nix is a great quarterback for us, and we need Bo Nix to start. But next year, if you can transfer to us, maybe you can compete with Dylan Gabriel, whoever our quarterback will be, and then you could start the next year. So they basically sent him to the minor leagues, UCLA, to start for a year, and then he went back to Oregon, where he always belonged. And Dante Moore did something I've never seen before, where a 5-star transferred after being a starter to becoming a backup, which, it's obviously an interesting tactic, and it paid off for him because he had a great season at Oregon. He really did. He brought them to the semifinal, and they were a top 4 team in college football. He won a whiteout game for them, and he played himself into a top 2 pick in the NFL draft. But he's coming back. Just shocking everybody. He's coming back. And this messes up things for Oregon a little bit. And I think it messes up, maybe not for Oregon, but messes up things for Dylan Raiola, who tried to do the Dante Moore, it seems like, where Dante Moore obviously transferred from UCLA to Oregon. Dylan Raiola transferred from Nebraska to Oregon. Now, Dylan Raiola is going to have to be Dante Moore's backup this year after starting the past 2 seasons and having 2 great seasons at Nebraska as himself. Not the team, but himself. He'll be a backup now in a draft-eligible year. The difference was for Dante Moore, he wasn't a backup in a draft-eligible year. Dylan Raiola will be. So this is a little bit of spotlight on Dante Moore and a little bit of spotlight on Dylan Raiola. Miami definitely needs a quarterback. I don't know why Dylan Raiola wouldn't go there. I don't think Emory Williams is the solution at Miami, and I don't think they're going to put Malachi Toney in at quarterback. He was that in high school. So why not go there? Why not complete their trifecta of quarterbacks from the transfer portal? Cam Ward, Beck, and then you, Dylan Raiola. This is a crucial decision for you. It's a crucial decision for Dante Moore, getting $7.5 million to come back. They have a tough schedule next year. They'll play Michigan. They'll play Ohio State. They'll play a lot of good teams. It doesn't get better than being #2. If you really hate the Jets that much, which I promise you is a stupid decision, because at the end of the day, it is New York, and you do have a great receiver in Garrett Wilson, and I do guarantee you they don't have the worst offensive line out there. Aaron Glenn isn't that bad of a head coach. What's saying you're going to go #2 anyways? So for Dante Moore, is it really worth putting off, what is it, $45 million over 3 years, maybe even more, as a rookie quarterback in the NFL for a 1-year, $7.5 million deal at Oregon that can only lower your stock to what? Win a Heisman? Win a championship? I just don't see it. I really don't. So for Dante Moore, I don't get it. I think it's good for college football, actually. I do. That Dante Moore, one of the best players in the game, gets to stay. I do think it's bad, though, that Dylan Raiola, a star in our game, doesn't get to play this year. We don't get to see him in a high-powered offense. Dylan Raiola could have been the #1 pick next year if he did get to start. I don't know if he'll transfer. I don't know what he'll do. But I did not see Dylan Raiola being a backup in a draft-eligible year. And I did not see Dante Moore, when he was in high school, becoming a 4-year player in college and returning for her senior year and obviously playing at Oregon. That's about it for my Dante Moore Spotlight this week. Now, college football showcase. The national championship is here, and this is the last college ball showcase until next college football season. Sad, but college ball showcase gets an end right here. Indiana versus Miami. We're down in Coral Gables. We're at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami's home stadium, and they're going to be in their road locker room. They're going to be playing in their away uniforms in their home stadium, playing in the national championship game. It's been a wild ride for really all teams all around. Indiana, Fernando Mendoza was a really low-star recruit coming out of Miami, out of high school. Went to Cal, transferred to Indiana, and is one of the most successful transfers in college ball history, adding his name to that Heisman list. Carson Beck worked out for him too. Transferred from Georgia, rolled the dice, and ended up at Miami, where he will be a good NFL draft pick in April, and he has taken his team to where he couldn't take Georgia. And that's the national championship game. That's the playoffs, and that's a top spot to win it all in college football. It's going to be a great game, and I think it really starts with these coaches. Kurt Cignetti, his wild ride from being Alabama wide receiver coach to being the Western Illinois, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Pennsylvania head coach to becoming the Elon head coach, James Madison. Now he finds a spot in Indiana in year 2 where he brought guys like D'Angelo Ponce, Aiden Fisher with him from JMU, and they're on this great team. For Miami head coach Mario Cristobal, being fired from Florida International just less than 15 years ago, to finding his way to Oregon, now back to his hometown of Miami, where he's coaching guys like Malachi Toney, who have always wanted to be Hurricanes. It really sets us up to be one of the best stories we've seen in a national championship game in this college ball playoff era. Something you need in an NIL era is something like this, a great story between two teams where all this transfer portal goes around. What a great game we have right here. But I'm going to pick a winner, and that winner of this national championship game will be the Indiana Hoosiers. I just think they're too good. I really do. I think this is one of the best college ball teams, it's going to sound crazy, of all time, because you are winning 16 games. The most games ever won by a team in the college ball playoff era is 15. Indiana's going to top that here with 16. I didn't think anybody could go undefeated in this 12-team playoff era, in this new conference era. And the first team to do it is Indiana. When you tell me a few years ago that UCLA and USC are expanding to the Big Ten, Oregon and Washington as well, but the team to go undefeated in that conference and win championship would be the Indiana Hoosiers, I'd be surprised. And I am. Fernando Mendoza did a great job all year long. D'Angelo Ponce commanded that defense. And I made this pick right here when D'Angelo Ponce got that pick 6 last week, because I said this is the best college ball team I've seen dominate every game since that Michigan Wolverines team 2 years ago, where you knew they were destined to win a championship. And I see that with this Indiana team. Miami's great. It's going to be an awesome game. I'll say 31-27. Indiana's going to get challenged. But the Hoosiers come out with the victory in their first national championship ever. Go Hoosiers. Go Indiana. That's my college ball showcase. Finish it off for this 2025-2026 college ball season. Let's talk the Australian Open, which starts on Sunday. If you know me, I'm a really big tennis guy, really big tennis player. My best sport to play, and I like to talk about it too. So let's break things down. You obviously have Novak Djokovic, who can always be a player. I mean, he's got the most Grand Slams of all time. But there's these new young guys that can win this tournament. Novak has owned it for a long time, but Jannik Sinner is the back-to-back champion of the Australian Open. Carlos Alcaraz has won every Grand Slam but the Australian Open. Dino Medvedev has been to the final many times in this tournament, but has never won it. I think it's going to be a great tournament. But at the end of the day, and in my predictions, I said a few weeks ago, who I said was going to win every single Grand Slam this year and complete the Golden Slam would be Jannik Sinner. And that starts with winning right here in January in Melbourne, Australia. Jannik Sinner wins his 3rd straight Australian Open, capturing yet another Grand Slam. He's controversial. He has PED testing positives before. He's gone through many different changes in his career. But this is a great win for him. He's the best player in the game right now. And Jannik Sinner wins yet another Australian Open. And Carlos Alcaraz will have to wait another year to complete the career Golden Slam, winning all 4. He hasn't won Australia. Jannik Sinner gets it right here. Sinner wins the Australian Open. And that closes out our At the Buzzer segment, talking tennis this week. Now, the best last question of the day. This week's question day is the mid-season NBA Europe series something you like, something you want to see going forward? I actually enjoy it, and you get to see the Orlando Magic, who have 2 German players in their roster, Franz and Mo Wagner, go and play in Berlin. When you have the Grizzlies going and playing in London, where somebody in England gets to learn what Memphis is for the first time. When you have a NBA series in Paris, Victor Wembanyama, I know he enjoys that. So leave your thoughts on that in the comments if you enjoy this NBA mid-season Europe series. That's about for question day this week. That's about for Schoolyard Sports with Lane Frank, episode 244. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports. Follow Schoolyard Sports on X at Schoolyard Sport. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review for the best sports content in the world. Be back here next week, episode 245. Stay tuned.